In today's episode, we're joined by Gregory Lafortune, registered dietitian. Greg is an enthusiastic nutrition professional with over 10 years in nutrition and health education. He earned his Bachelor's of Science at Georgia State University in 2016 and his Master's of Science in Nutrition and Human Performance at Logan University in 2020. He completed his dietetic internship and passed his registered dietitian exam in 2021 and has been practicing since. Two things that brought Greg into this profession was his diagnosis of diabetes at age 11 and the lack of representation of Black male dietitians. Greg loves empowering men to eat better and live longer. He is the owner of Optimal Plan Nutrition LLC, where he provides optimal nutrition and life education and counseling for optimal human performance. He has a wife and daughter and loves to play music. Join me today as we talk with Greg and learn more about his journey. All right. So welcome, Greg, to the Surviving Second Gen podcast. I'm so glad that you could join me today.
Thanks for having me. It's my honor. I can't wait to get into some discussion and just to be able to tell you a little bit about my story and my journey.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear it. I'm excited for the folks listening to hear it because I think you have a really great story. As I was saying in a previous episode, I was just talking about career stuff and how, in the immigrant families and households, we're so used to being in certain careers and jobs. It's hard to see people who are children of immigrants veer off of that and do different things. So I was like, okay, I know someone who's doing that and I want people to know his story and know how he got there. So that's how we got to talking to Greg today. Yeah. So we know that you are a dietitian, a registered dietitian. So help the viewers understand what a registered dietitian is and kind of walk through what it's like in your day-to-day. So does your day start like and how does it end from beginning to the end of the day?
Okay, cool. So a registered dietitian, also abbreviated RD. You also have the word registered dietitian nutritionist, abbreviated RDN. So this is a profession, nutrition professional, essentially. And we are able to provide what they call medical nutrition therapy. So anybody that has any kind of chronic disease, diabetes, hypertension, cancer, the list goes on, to be able to provide nutrition therapy for those types of people. So it's a little bit different, in comparison to just a regular nutritionist.
Okay.
A registered dietitian has to go through, they have to get their undergrad in nutrition. Then they have to go through a 1,200-hour dietetic internship just to be even able to sit for the national credentialing exam. So then we take the exam, we pass the exam, then we're able to call ourselves dietitians. And starting pretty soon, all dietitians are going to be required to have master's degrees as well. So it's a lot.
Oh.
It's a lot of schooling. It's a lot of upkeep because we have to have a certain amount of continuing education hours every so often. So it's a lot to maintain.
Right.
So dietitians are definitely top line nutrition professionals, definitely the people that you want to see when it comes to any kind of nutrition concern that you may have.
Okay. That's a good, I think that's a good distinction for people to know because, you hear a lot about nutritionists and dietitians, and I think some people kind of just intertwine the two words, but it's good to know that yours has more of a specific way that you're working with people, especially with people with chronic illnesses, like you said, and then the schooling and the credentialing that goes into that.
Yeah, and it can get very confusing, and it makes sense why, because registered dietitian and registered dietitian nutritionist, and then you just have a nutritionist. So the words get very confusing. But I would say that in all things, if you're really trying to get, like I said, the top of the line nutrition expertise and information on how to maintain a balanced life, a healthy life, a nutritious life, you definitely want to make sure that the person that you're talking to has some kind of credentialing, like that registration in front of their dietitian or in front of their nutrition title. It's very important.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's good to let the people know. So, what do people specifically come to you for, like the people that you do work with?
So you did ask me about my everyday, so I'll go into that a little bit. So um,
Yeah.
right now I've been working mainly with people who are going through bariatric surgery. So I do nutrition counseling because of the process. It's a long process. It takes a lot. It changes their lives completely. So there's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of medical clearances that they have to go through. Speaking with the dietitian is one of them. So I'm helping them understand what their liquid diet is going to be like and what their
Well,
diet.
tell people what the specifically a bariatric surgery is.
Yeah, so bariatric surgery is weight loss surgery. So we
Okay.
see people who are morbidly obese or who just kind of like reach that obesity BMI, trying to find ways that they can lose weight. Maybe they've tried 1,000 different types of methods. Maybe they just kind of had weight fluctuations back and forth and they can't seem to keep it off. So going through a process like bariatric surgery basically takes the stomach. Well, there's a couple of different types. You have the gastric bypass, you have the gastric sleeve. Those are the main types. So
Yeah.
essentially, it's making your stomach smaller so that the ability for you to intake food decreases. And when that happens, you will lose weight because you can't intake the same amount of food. So it's been known to really help people come off of medication. People lose a lot of weight on bariatric surgery, and for a lot of people, it's a way for them to turn their lives around when things kind of get out of hand. So
Gotcha.
people come to me and we talk about that. But honestly, I see people who deal with many types of diseases, diabetes being one of them. Um, so on a day-to-day basis, I'm counseling folks who may have almost anything. I might be counseling a pregnant woman who has gestational diabetes and wants to learn how to make sure that her blood sugars are in check to make sure that she has a healthy pregnancy and a healthy delivery. On the
Yeah.
other day, I might be counseling somebody who has heart disease who's trying to find out how they can lower their cholesterol or lower their overall heart health indicators in general through nutrition. So my daily
Mm-hmm.
all the time.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, yeah. So how are these people finding you? Is it from the hospitals, or are you working with a specific company?
So I'm actually about to end a contract with a hospital that I've been working with doing the bariatric surgery, nutrition therapy. And I'm transitioning into a new job where I'll be working remotely. So I feel like once I start working remotely for this company, I'm going to see a lot of different types of people. Uh,
Right.
in the hospital setting, it was kind of the same things I was seeing in and out. But with this new company, I feel like I'll be able to see all types of
Yeah.
special who needs help in all types of areas. So that'll be very interesting.
Yeah, yeah. That sounds exciting. Like you're, veering off into, serving different types of people that you may have not reached before. Is there a particular group of people that you are looking forward to working with, or have you really enjoyed working with people on weight loss?
So I am so interested and passionate about serving men's health. Um,
Okay.
the way I kind of got into that is because I did a Google search of men's health dietitians and
Hmm.
nothing came up. I was like, that's how I knew that's where I wanted to specialize in because when we look at rates of chronic disease, especially cardiovascular disease and diabetes, men blow out women. Like it's crazy as far as
Okay.
the statistics go, specifically for black men.
Yeah.
So without a nutrition professional who wants to specialize and focus on this demographic of men, I feel like things can't get better or won't get better. So me
Right.
being a man who's black, who's also a dietitian, a lot of people look at me who come into the office, whether it's a white man or even, black men too, they're just saying, I'm glad I have somebody who understands me, who looks like me, because
Hmm.
to be honest with you, like, you understand my language or, if it wasn't for somebody like you, I don't think I would have actually listened. Like, I hear things like that all the time when I talk to fellas. So it makes me really proud, and makes me know, like, men's health is something that I really, really want to focus on in my career.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. Cause yeah, the statistic that you brought up, like, wow, like there's not enough representation clearly. So you're filling a void there by going into this career. So that's amazing that you're doing that work and passionate about it. So along those lines, so tell me how you really became Greg, the dietitian. Like, what was your process? How did the thought come to your mind, and then you be where you're at today?
So growing up, I'm from New York, parents from Haiti, grew up in New York, moved to Georgia in 2000. So while I'm in New York, as a kid, you always like say what you want to be when you grow up. It started off being a police officer. I wanted to be a police officer. I don't know why, but that quickly changed. Then I
Yeah.
wanted to be then I wanted to be a chef.
Okay.
Wanted to be a chef. But later on in life, when I turned 11 years old, I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And
Hmm.
then I'll just tell you right there, that shook me to the core. That rocked my life, shifted things, turned things around 100%. Because it's just like, all right, I'm only 11, barely hit puberty. Like, what's really going on?
Yeah.
Right. So it was really then when I started kind of like self sabotaging and got into a lot of bad habits and was upset at the fact that this was my reality.
Hmm.
So later on down the line, like one of the things I had to do was see a dietitian. So one of the dietitians that I was able to see at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta really made a huge impact on me. And I was just like, you know what? Maybe I can see myself doing this.
Okay.
I remember that encounter very vividly. And I just found her on LinkedIn a couple months ago, right
Uh,
after my exam. So after a good 20, almost 20 years, I finally found her and we've been in constant communication. So yeah, she had a really big imprint on me. I realized that there was no real prominent dietitian in the Haitian community.
hmm.
And then there was no representation in the black male community. I can't say none at all, but very limited. So
Right.
all of these were indicators that showed me that maybe I did have a place in this field. And if I didn't have a place, I was going to make one.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. So you really got into it from your own personal experience with a chronic illness, type 1 diabetes, something that can't control. It's not like you said, you got it as a child,
Mm-hmm.
and then realizing that, wow, like there's probably other people dealing with the same thing, and but they don't have the representation to be able to see somebody who looks like them to help them go through that. So I'm sure there's like so many people that you're inspiring just by deciding that you're not going to let this illness stop you, but inspire you to do more and reach more people. So that's amazing.
Absolutely. I appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah. So, being, a second generation immigrant, being a child of immigrants, like I was saying before, being there's certain jobs that, sometimes a lot of parents for us they want us to have. So what was it like for you when you told them that, hey, I want to be a dietitian?
It was like, Greg, what's that? What was that? Uh,
Yeah.
my mom, she has a lot of experience working in hospitals, so she kind of knew what it was. My dad,
Okay.
based off of the word diet, kind of like knew that it had to deal with food. Like,
Yeah.
diet, you gonna put people on diets? Yeah, that's not what it is. But
Yeah.
they were happy that I found something that I wanted to do, and they were some of the first. They were two of the first people who knew my why. They knew,
Mm.
obviously they had firsthand experience dealing with the fact that their son had diabetes.
Yeah.
That was a whole learning curve for them and learning how to cater to me and make sure that I was good. And they saw that, and they saw like my mentality and my maturity grow and expand in that. And when I came to
Yeah.
them and said, this inspired me to want to become a dietitian, they were actually really proud. They were really happy. They any parent I feel like is happy, especially immigrant parents, is happy when their child finds something that they are passionate about, because we all know
Yeah.
immigrant parents don't like when their kids is on the street.
Mm-hmm.
Greg is out here trying to make a career for himself. He's trying to make a name for himself. He wants to do well with his life. It didn't follow the traditional doctor, lawyer, engineer, nurse path,
Mm-hmm.
but it was close enough for them to be satisfied enough. And
Right.
they were just happy that I found something that I really was passionate about. They really were happy about that. So shout out to them. They didn't chastise me because I didn't choose the typical route, but they
Mm-hmm.
actually ended up really supporting me, and until this day, they do so.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you said that, because I think that's so important that, Haitian parents encourage their kids to do what it is that they are passionate about and, have a gift in doing. And, because again, you're impacting people. It's not, something frivolous. It's, you're actually doing great work. So that's awesome that you had parents that encourage that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. God, I'm very fortunate for them, so I thank God for them.
Yeah, yeah. So, what would you say, in the work that you do brings you joy the most? I know you talked about, working with Black men or just men in general is what you are targeting. So, what do you really find joy in, doing this work as a dietitian?
I did mention that specifically, but honestly, it's really anybody who can say that I helped them get from point A to point B.
Yeah,
Like like as professionals, and you work in mental health and you work in counseling, so you get it. A lot of times we're trying to do the bulk of the work for the person and trying to have such a a revolutionary moment in one session, and it's just like,
yeah,
no, bro, this is going to take time.
right,
So instead of trying to get from A to Z, I find joy and contentment where I can help somebody get from A to B or from B to C. That little step right there is just a catalyst, and it's an encouragement for them to keep going. And the fact that somebody can identify me and helping them do that makes me take this so much more seriously, and makes me just make sure that I'm like up to date with my expertise and knowledge, my,
right.
my counseling methods, and all that good stuff. So I find contentment in getting those types of feedback, those types of recognition, and it really does make me feel empowered.
Yeah, yeah. No, I totally agree with you too. It's like in the work that we do and just helping people get from one place to another, you really do have to let the little wins sink in, like sometimes it's not this big transformation that happens right away, but when somebody just thanks you for just listening to them or, giving them a resource that they didn't have before, it feels really good that you can instill that in somebody. I think that is definitely rewarding, like
Yeah,
if nothing else.
yeah. I mean, the work that we do, and it's really anybody really, but the work that we do is changes lives.
Yeah.
And I had an encounter recently with this guy, this African guy who has a very thick accent, and I would try to imitate it, but I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want any smoke from no
Right,
African.
you don't want to upset the folks.
So he came to me, and he was trying to get bariatric surgery, and he was on like all types of medication. So one of his motivators was trying to get off medication, and of course, when we are able to lose weight and decrease fat mass, that really helps stimulate a lot of like healing and a lot of ability to be able to get off medication, depending on what the disease is, whatever.
Hmm.
So he came to me, and again, that guy to guy connection in the healthcare setting, like me being able to represent something that he did not ever see or experience before. So he
Hmm.
came in and he was telling me about how nobody knows that he's going through this process. He hid it from his family
Oh
and did
wow.
all this stuff. And of course, I can't tell anybody, like, that's HIPAA. You can't be out here
Right.
telling folks who you counseling or whatever. So I felt like it was really me and him sitting down trying to figure this thing out. So long story short, he basically applied some of the methods that I taught him. And I called him because I hadn't seen him in almost a month. I was like, hey, what's going on? Like, you just ghosted me. He was like, I have decided not to go with the surgery anymore. I was just like,
Oh.
all right, what happened? Right? He was like, I have applied the methods that you told me, and I was able to lose an amount of almost 16 pounds since we last spoke, just by some of the nutrition methods that you taught me. So I have
Wow.
decided not to go with the surgery anymore. And
Wow.
it was just like, I want to thank you sincerely from the deepest of my heart. You know how because they had that special
Mm-hmm.
that I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like, man, you speak English better than almost all of us, right? So I want to thank you from the deepest of my heart and express my sincerest gratitude to you. Because he said this in the accent now. Like I said, I'm about
Right,
to.
right. You can't do it, but I
You know,
get it. Yeah. I
he's
can
like,
imagine it.
I just want to thank you because you really showed me that like there are people in this field who look like me and who
Hmm.
can actually give me like culturally relevant nutrition information. And that right
Mm-hmm.
there, I was just like, yeah, this is why I'm in this. Like that culturally relevant nutrition information is huge because
Yeah.
we tend to think that we have to follow the Mediterranean diet or we have to eat this way because this is what's been scientifically proven. And it's
Mm-hmm.
true, but the science is really the strength of the science is in the nutrients.
Mm.
And all cultures have very nutritious food,
Mm.
right? So, in Ethiopia, they might eat this thing right here. Here in the US, we might eat this thing. They have very similar nutrient composition. I
Yeah.
can't tell the Ethiopian that they need to eat this when that's just not culturally relevant for them. So, having that
Mm.
kind of conversation with him, I'm just like, all right, bro, I know you like fufu, right? But in on the fufu. Like you can't be eating fufu mindlessly and not
Yeah.
in control of what you're eating. So it's
Right.
like conversations like that and just being 100% authentic and real with him and not telling him that he has to eat a certain kind of way. I think that
Yeah.
also helped too.
Okay. No, that's a really good example of one representation, right? Like you just being able to be there for somebody and they feel comfortable to speak with you, but also, an extra layer of you reaching them where they are at culturally.
Absolutely.
The word you said, culturally relevant, nutritious.
Like the culturally relevant nutrition, information, education,
Okay.
just
Yeah.
connecting them to their culture and helping them find what's nutritious for them.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love that. And I've never heard that said in that way. But it makes so much sense because like you said, like we all come from different backgrounds and especially when I think about like immigrants in this country or second generation immigrants being in this country, feeling like they have to be on a certain diet because, they're in America and these are the diets that are publicized, but you're saying that it's okay for them to stick to their diet and you can help them find ways to do that in nutritional, like get the nutritional value that they need even sticking to their cultural diet.
And a lot of times cultural food is a lot healthier than what we eat here in America anyway.
Oh, let's talk about it.
You
Yeah.
know what I remember talking to a friend. He said I lost a lot of weight. I was like, "What did you do?" He's Haitian. He's like, "I stopped eating Haitian food," and I felt like that was very disrespectful. If we look at just the historical, um, this Haiti's history as far as like being having very rich soil and very
Mm-hmm.
rich nutrients, and the food that we eat actually isn't unhealthy. A lot of it actually has to deal with life changes. They call this epigenetics, where you live somewhere for so long, adapt to the way of life there, eat how you
Mm-hmm.
then you completely change location. You come to the States, you're stressed out a lot more, you don't have the same level of physical activity. So
Right.
of course the health outcomes are a little bit different.
Right.
I had to correct. I'm just like, no, it's not because you stopped eating Haitian food. Most likely it's because you change your portions.
Mm-hmm.
Started eating differently as far as like you stopped eating mindlessly. You were more aware and you were more
Yeah.
aware of what you were doing. So I still have to correct people when they say stuff like that now, but yeah, I just hate that kind of thinking.
Yeah, yeah. No, thanks for educating the people, like you said, like epigenetics does determine what, your ability to take in certain food looks like. But when you learn how to portion control, then that changes everything. So, yeah, that's great information.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
So, do you see yourself staying in like what you're doing now, working with certain companies, or how do you see yourself like growing as a dietitian? Do you see yourself having your own business, or what does that look like for you?
I see myself getting all the experience that I can take.
Mm-hmm.
Days right now, I've been a dietitian for a little bit over a year right now.
Okay.
This new company that I'm working with, I feel like I'll grow tremendously as a practitioner. I feel like I'll grow as just a professional in general. That's why I took on this challenge. I feel like it'll be really good for me. I always am going to be working on my private practice. So I have a business called Optimal Plan Nutrition.
Okay.
And that's just my private practice that I'm going to continually work on establishing, where I want to be able to counsel individuals and help them find the optimal nutrition for them
Mm-hmm.
in all seasons and all phases of life. Having somebody who can help them break down tough, complicated nutrition jargon. Like, for example, like if I were to ask you right now, what is an antioxidant? Like right off of your head, what would you tell me?
Something that prevents bad stuff coming into your system.
That's actually a good guess, but most people don't know what that is at all. Like
Mm-hmm.
so much, like your average person doesn't know what a calorie is. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of us as dietitians use dietitian language, and
Right.
what my approach is to dumb it down as much as possible, not to insult anybody's intelligence,
Right.
but I can't expect everybody to understand these complicated terms like I understand them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So my method of educating is to really help people grasp it and be able to teach it back, and also be able
Right.
to apply it in their lives. So I'll be working in whatever way pays me. I'll be however, like whatever is going to give me money, I'm going to do that, and I'm always
Mm-hmm.
working on my business, because long term, I definitely would like to be doing that more, my own private practice, to where I can like have more time to do what I want to do and spend more time with my family and plan for the future and whatnot. So,
Yeah.
mhm.
Okay. So Greg is out here trying to get that money.
Yes, it is. Look, I set a goal for myself. The first year as a dietitian, on average, dietitians make maybe, depending on where you're at, on average, we get paid about 60,000 on average.
Uh-huh.
And they always say, as a starting RD, you're supposed to take whatever offer you get. And I was just like, nah, take what offer that pays me well. I'm gonna take
Right.
whatever offer that's good for me. I made
Yeah.
a goal, Jen, that I was gonna make $100,000 in my first year as an RD. Now,
Okay.
this is typically unheard of,
Yeah.
right? So the first year passed, I did not reach the goal, but but I'm really happy that I was able to really surprise myself, and
Mm-hmm.
I pushed boundaries, I pushed limits, and
Yeah.
I didn't reach the goal like I just said, but I really acquired a lot of like great other things that I'm really proud of. So, I'm just gonna keep growing, keep expanding, keep putting myself out there, and I know that I'll be very well taken care of in this field.
Nice. Yeah. I like that. I like that you're not settling for anything, You're trying to find the things that build yourself up, like you said, professionally, and the coins. Like you want to make sure that you're good. So, yeah, I think that's a good thing for people to hear too, be inspired by, is that yeah, you could be fresh out of college, or fresh to this, but you don't have to settle for any and everything.
Never, never settle.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
too much out here. I see people reviewing video games, making millions of dollars. I see people
Listen.
I see people review, like, doing product reviews.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
top, it's just like, okay, I could definitely partake in that basket of wealth as well, and I definitely do that. So let me put
Right.
myself out there and do what I need to do, and not settle, and just however long it takes. It's gonna take that long. That's fine.
Yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Do you find it stressful at all to, I guess, try to build your career and be where you want to be, or do you feel like you're handling it all right?
It's a really great question. I feel like if I wasn't grounded at all in my faith, that I would really be super stressed, because it is very discouraging not seeing many black men dietitians.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always been a go-getter. I've always been somebody to take initiative. So I see a problem, and I'm the kind of person to put up systems to help address the problem, instead of like going, like wallowing in my corner and just kind of looking all timid. I'm just
Yeah.
going to be like, hey, this is a problem and we need to address this. So part of what I'm doing with my business is also trying to reach out to other young black men who are in the nutrition field, or who are interested in the nutrition field, to
Mm-hmm.
provide like impromptu mentoring. Like, I'll just kind of hit them up randomly and be like, "Hey, how's it going? I know you applied for that job last time. How is it?" And me doing that, so far I've been able to connect with at least 10 guys who are either in school for nutrition, or
Mm-hmm.
who just become dietitians, and even some who are seasoned dietitians who are black. So I'm trying to like unofficially, officially form this community. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but it's something that I really, really take very seriously.
Yeah.
Is really needed.
That's amazing. Yeah. I'm sure like those individuals are just feel good that there's somebody who looks like them who's being able to say, "Hey, like let's connect, um, you know, let's see what how we can change this field really by just, being more than just one here and there, but like more of us actually coming through the field, graduating and doing the work." So,
Yeah. And
yeah.
I think the stress could possibly come if I wasn't grounded in my faith, if I
Yeah.
didn't know who I was,
Mm,
if I didn't believe in God, all these different types of things.
yeah.
I have always been the only black person in any class, any job. I'm sorry, not the only black person, the only black male diet,
Mm,
or the only black male nutrition student. It's
yeah.
always happened, even at my current job right now. You
Uh-huh.
know, like I'm sitting there, I'm just like, yep, it's only me again. All right, cool. Like, I just
Yeah.
roll punches, and anybody who's experiencing that would assimilate or act like the environment that they're in.
Mhm.
I'm black. I'm not a woman. I'm gonna be me. I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm not about to code switch like I'm some kind of white woman or a white girl, and I'm not
Mhm.
trying to say less of them need to be in this field, but there's a pressure. Like, there's an underlying pressure to act like, or to be like, or to talk like, and
Mm.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
It could be stressful, but I'm not allowing it to be stressful, because I really feel like God is putting this on my heart, and
Mm.
I'm going to do that. There's a need for it. So I
Yeah.
know it's going to be challenging, but at the end of the day, it's needed. So I'm going to go at it full steam, and I'm not going to stop. That's just
Yeah.
the reality. That's how I look at it. So it could be stressful. It's annoying because the community's not there. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
But that's fine. Like, I love
Yeah.
hanging out with my family anyway. So I'm good on that. I got community. I'm good.
Nice. Yeah. No, I love that you said that even though you stand out in the spaces that you're in because you're grounded in who you are, who you are, who God made you to be, and you grounded in your faith, like that can't shake you. You're still going to be you. Like that's amazing.
Appreciate that.
And along those lines, you mentioned your family. So I wanted to ask you, like, how do you nourish your mental health? I know faith is important, family. What are you doing to take care of your mental, despite being in stressful situations?
Absolutely. So I'm an avid listener of music. I love live music. I play music. I play about 4 different instruments. So music has always been an outlet for me ever since I started learning how to play the drums when I was like 5, 6 years old.
Okay.
I really feel like music it allows me to express my creativity, and it's just great stress relief. So that's one of the things that I do. I also have started working out a lot more consistently. That has really helped not only with my diabetes, but it's also helped like, with some gains and stuff. I'm starting to feel myself and whatnot. So that's two things that I do. Um, and yeah, I would say those are the main two. I also like watching basketball, so I'm a Knicks fan, even though the Knicks can get very stressful. The New York, the New York Knicks stress me out all the time.
Yeah.
Just me having something that I personally like, my hobby, watching the Knicks and, following what's going on with the Knicks. And, that's just my personal thing. So there's a couple of things that I do to
Yeah.
help me manage and relieve stress outside of just like reading my Bible and praying and stuff like that. Like those actual tangible things that you can do in life. Those are just as important, in my personal opinion, than you just like praying and just reading your Bible, for example.
Yeah, yeah. No, that makes so much sense because yeah, faith is the foundation. I know it is for me too, like I always have that, and there's also day-to-day things that I feel like are important for me to make sure that I keep going and combat the stress that I have, that are actively like making me feel better, making me feel good.
Yeah, yeah,
So I'm glad that you have that for yourself.
absolutely.
Um But lastly, I want to ask you, what advice would you give a second generation immigrant, who wants to enter the type of industry that you're in? How would you advise them in that process?
We're talking nutrition or more like an unpopular type of field?
Nutrition specifically, yeah.
Hit me up. Greg Nutrition at GregoryLafortune.com. Contact
Okay.
me. I want to meet you. I want to help you understand how things go. If you are, whether you're a black man or not, doesn't matter. If you are somebody who this child of an immigrant who's looking into going into this, just reach out. Okay, that's
Okay.
two. I would say, and everybody's not wired like me. Like I'm somebody that I could just jump in. I don't care what's gonna happen. I'm gonna be successful when I come out. That's just how I think.
Yeah.
But you have to have some sense of purpose, of something, of some sense of story,
Mm-hmm.
something that's helping you really stay grounded to that thing. And for me, what brought me into it, like I told you, what started that process was that diabetes. Now I know everybody. Now I hope you don't have diabetes or get that.
Right.
But sometimes you have to have something that really anchors you, something
Mm-hmm.
that helps you stay in it, something that you can look at in your life that says you need to do this or this is why you're doing this and you can't run from this.
Yeah.
So I would say like you need to not just do things frivolously, but you have to have purpose behind why you're doing it. And a lot of times your personal story and the personal things that have happened to you are a great reason for you to take that dive and to take that launch into what you're trying to get into.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Yeah, because it sounds like you're saying for people to really dig deep and figure out, what their story is, what is their purpose to, what they want to be and what they want to do, and to actually like find that so they can push towards it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So tell the people where they can find you, like to reach out, I guess, for mentoring or to get optimal nutrition information, social media, all of that.
I got you. You can follow me. I'm mainly on IG at Men's Health Dietitian. And for all you out there who think dietitian is spelled with a CIAN, let me just tell you right now, it is a TIAN. All right.
All
So you can
right.
find me at Men's Health Dietitian on IG. As I just indicated previously, you can email me at nutrition at Gregory. I'm sorry. Yeah, nutrition at Gregory. I had it right. I don't know. Yeah. Nutrition at GregoryLafortune.com. You can visit my website at GregoryLafortune.com. LA as in Los Angeles, Fortune as in a fortune cookie. I don't spell my last name anymore, Jen. That's how I tell people.
Okay.
LA as in Los Angeles, Fortune like a cookie, right?
That makes sense.
So yeah, find me there. I have a ton of different services that I'm offering right now, one-on-one sessions. I'm doing what I call a kitchen optimization, where I'm able to analyze and assess places where you store food, which is mainly your fridge and your pantry, and help you find nutritious swaps and things that you can do to help boost the nutritious value of your food storage spaces. I
Mm.
also do meal plans, customized meal plans. So these are just some of the things that I do. Please reach out to me. And if you're just looking just for somebody to reach out to learn from, a mentor, I would love to learn about you and help you grow.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Greg. I hope people just come flooding to you because you got some knowledge for real, for real. Like,
I appreciate that, Jen.
yeah, you're doing great work.
I'm sorry. This is probably this has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Yeah.
The title of your podcast is really amazing, by the way. I really thought that you were going to spell it surviving second JEN. I
Okay. Right.
would have just like been like, whoa, like Jen is on another level right here, right? But I love what you're doing, and I appreciate you for having me. Y'all, please reach out to me, reach out to Jen. You know, we're out here just trying to be successful and to make our lives better,
Mm-hmm.
and to really build future generations. So thanks for having
Yeah.
me. I appreciate it.
No, for sure. Thank you for that shout out. You see, I could have made it surviving second gen with the JEN, but I feel like only a few people would get the people who know me would get it. So I was like, okay, let me not do too much. But
But for the whole, like the first couple of episodes, you would have had to explain it, and yeah.
right. But no, I appreciate the shout out. Greg is good people, like in general, not just professionally. So I'm glad that you could come on and tell the people what you got going on. And yeah, we're just out here trying to do good things for our community. So yeah, I'm glad we could connect and do this.
Yes, thank you, Jen. And whenever you want to have me again, just let me know.
For
We
sure.
get into some more stuff, so just let me know.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. All right.